Welcome back to SPD 911. I am your host, Dr. Tayler Jacobs, President and COO of SIPS Healthcare Solutions. In this show, it's all about us tackling the toughest challenges in sterile processing. So, whether you're on the front lines or making high level decisions, we're here to equip you with real solutions to rescue and elevate your department. Each episode, every Wednesday, I'm joined by our Director of Clinical Compliance, Sharon Green Golden, a leader in compliance and regulatory standards, and our Director of Clinical Operations, Derrick Jones, a specialist in operational efficiency and team development. Together, we break down the critical issues affecting central sterile processing departments and provide actionable strategies to help you stay ahead. Remember, SPD 911 isn't just a show, it's your emergency response team for sterile processing, and we want you to participate live. Ask your questions. Join our executive edge community at SPD 911. Remember, it is free. The only way to engage with us directly. So if you have any questions, any scenarios that you want us to actually answer live on the show, this is how you join us. SPD911.com. You join our executive edge community, and we will be ready to answer your questions. Today is only me and DJ though. What's going on, DJ?
Oh man, beautiful day. I'm gonna mention it to you and just say markets are up, markets looking good. Uh we'll have to talk offline how you made probably a bad decision at the wrong time, but we'll get you back going.
It'll be,
Ooh-wee.
I think I'll be,
No, you
I
good.
think I'll be,
Yeah.
I think I'll be, I think I had some good
Yes.
markets with some checks that came through.
Okay. All right, all right, all right. Come
We'll
on with
expect,
it.
get back in. But you've been busy, um, on the accounts and turning some
Yeah,
things around.
yeah,
So I think culture
yeah,
is
yeah.
a conversation that we can actually have as far as
Absolutely.
engage with today together. So before
Yeah.
we get started, how what we always do. Give me one thing that you're grateful for over the past week.
Man, grateful for opportunities. As we look at some people in society, they wake up or they don't wake up with a chance to correct or to do things better than they did the previous day. So just blessed to be able to wake up, to be able to have an opportunity to do most of the things that I desire to do on a daily day-to-day basis, and then to be able to impact change or make change in people's lives and in my personal life, for the greater good, for the situation, and for myself. We often forget because we're so inundated with the process,
Mhm.
meaning the things and the steps it takes to move mountains and to get ahead in life, that we don't celebrate and appreciate the moments and the process that you've been able to embark on to be better. So I'm grateful for an opportunity and for life and just for being able to wake up and do the things I like to do.
Man, I'm grateful that uh I'm grateful that Sips is hitting that new leg. Being us being a 20-year-old company, being one of the pioneering companies in this space for SPD consulting, staffing in that space, and seeing us be able to expand in other service lines. I wish I could talk to you live right now about the service lines that we're bringing to SIPs to continue to add value and support to the hospitals. But I think what's starting to turn around, which is what I'm loving, is that hospitals are starting to want to work with people that specialize in the thing. And they tried the big company thing, the big corporation, the big namesakes that have all of these other tools and attributes to them. But what they're starting to realize is that working with companies that do a specific thing and don't venture too far out are great solutions and great opportunities for them. And so SIPS is kind of getting back in the forefront of leading in that charge in a many different ways. Part of it is, you all doing a great job turning around, struggling and underperforming departments. And the other part is our marketing team is doing a phenomenal job of keeping us in front of people. And then the third thing, when they do engage with us, they're getting to see real people that can deliver real results and they're having a good time. So I'm loving SIPS 2.0. And we're starting to see some of those fruits kind of come around. So I'm very, very happy about that. Very happy about that. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we're ready to get into it, man. We episode 11, man. We're talking about culture cracks and how
Mm-hmm.
patient safety. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was a great I thought it was a great conversation to have and a great information given to us by our producer Ignacio with this
Mm-hmm.
concept, really breaking down the dichotomy of culture and how it does affect organizations. And one thing that I do want to kind of talk about before we even go into it is how a lot of people think that culture is, cupcakes and remembering birthdays,
Mm-hmm.
colors, and remembering all those things. And what I like oftentimes tell organizer or leaders of organizations, you can easily remember everyone's birthday if you schedule it in your phone or schedule it in your email.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those things don't create culture. What creates culture is accountability,
Mm-hmm.
responsiveness to accountability, doing your job, performing, going above and beyond to ensure that the next person is picking things up, don't have to drop the ball. And I
Mm-hmm.
often tell a lot of leaders, that are leading organizations, you can lead a great organization without remembering anyone's birthday. Because I don't remember anyone's birthday. I say, listen, when your birthday is close, let me know a week ahead of time because I will forget it.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall arching goal is, do you know all of the goals of the people in your organization or the majority of them? Do you know where they want to end up? Do you know what aspirations they have? And are you creating an environment that pushes them to actually have to perform and turn things around in the way that they should? And so that's my take on that tip.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take before we get going on culture?
Well, I think everything you said, plus, which sums it up. Are you invested in the value, or your employees and your team? Are you invested in them, or are you only invested in the outcome and how the outcome helps you or helps the department? So, it's really about what you're willing to do to create and develop your team and the teams around you to help the culture of the department, to support the overall goal, and to keep people and to retain people in these particular departments and areas. Retention is the most important thing, because you can also give people an opportunity to grow, and you could help your cause by impacting them and giving them value, but then they'll take that value somewhere else. So when you look at culture, you got to create an environment that will get people to want to stay and be a part of you, not only you as the leader, but as the growth of the organization.
I agree 1000%.
Mm-hmm.
So we got
Mm-hmm.
to scenario number one, you know,
Yep.
um, which is this checklist culture, compliance over
Mm-hmm.
competence. So here's the scenario. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the SPD departments, the SPD departments are passing audits through documentation, but
Mm-hmm.
practices reveal gaps in skill and attention to detail. Patient safety is compromised by over reliance on checklists rather than confirmed ability. So the question is, how can leaders shift from surface level compliance to genuine demonstrated competence amongst their techs?
Um, um,
Only you and I,
well,
we both. Hey,
I know that's a little bit tougher, because this is one where I think it would take the leader's involvement to be a part of the or hands on in the process, to ensure that the proper training, skill set, and the overall objectives is being met or being taught. Often leaders will just put out, hey, I need a technician to be able to um, process 30 trays a week, but they don't often understand what it takes, if the inventory is available, if the supervisor or the teams believe that the objective is possible. So as our leaders begin to build an organization and a culture and a department, where you have people properly trained and understand the
Right.
goal and the task in order to meet and deliver those tasks. Our leaders have to do a better job in understanding full scale what frontline workers and employees are experiencing, so that you can realistically put together a plan, a strategy, and a policy that they can carry through and that they can deliver. And
Yeah.
then as they work through completing and working and working according to policies and tasks and are competent to do the job, us as leaders can look at the gaps and can be proactive in looking at things that may interfere with their ability to deliver and to work in those roles and those settings.
Yeah. And I too agree with that. I think people hide behind the concept of compliance.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about the checklist, is it, did we do this? Yes. Did we do this? Yes. Did we do this? Yes. And not actually checking the quality of someone's work. They're just like, hey, 7 trays were done. 7 trays were done. Did you use sterilize? Did you use sterilize? Did you do decontent? Okay, you did decontent. Did you tag in? Okay, you tagged in. But not looking at the quality. That's why QA techs and things have become so needed within hospital departments. So I think it's very important for people to understand is that compliance does not equal competence. If we're passing audits but failing in practice, we've built a false sense of security. So our checklists, they should validate our behavior, not replace it. And so when we're looking at those checklists, we're just going through it.
Yeah.
We're looking
Mm-hmm.
at the checklist to replace the behavior. So for an example, if I'm going into my department and I got a great producer who's toxic as heck,
Yeah.
when I look at the text, when I look at the audit, when I look at the checklist, they're performing, but
They're
they're
performing.
get HE double hockey sticks for everyone else that's around them. So the question is, at what point does this checklist matter just as someone's behavior matter just as much as the checklist? And this is what everyone always goes back to. Man, I did my work, I did my job, I did my thing. But yes, you caused so much turmoil inside the organization that other people, you tapped into their traumas, you tapped into their anger. They were underperforming, but you felt great because everyone's scared to talk to you because you did your checklist. You did your checklist. So that real safety comes when training moves beyond the paper and into performance. That means implementing daily skill verification, spot checks to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
everyone is actually doing their job. We have to get past this notion that I'm just checking things out. We got to get past that. And we got to start saying what lives beyond the check. Let me show you something.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what my
Mm-hmm.
book is?
What's that?
I read it twice a year. There's the most amazing book, thought-provoking book that I believe that everyone should abide by. You ready?
Let's go. I'm ready.
Beyond Zebra by
On Beyond Zebra.
Did you see how
Okay.
fast I
Okay.
got it?
Oh
It's
yeah.
right
You
there.
knew where it was. Yeah.
And the reason why is because this book teaches you the world beyond Z. So it says, everyone stops at Z. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's the checklist. There's 26 letters. But what world is created with just those letters? What world? And so it forces you to say, what is life out the box? What is life outside the checklist? What is life outside just compliance? Hey, I'm doing the things that make me compliant to my job. I'm doing the things that make sure that I can back up what people say. I have written documentation to back me up so that if I ever somebody come for my job, I can say I did my job. Well, when you're joining an organization, if it's not your business, you're joining a team. So not only do you have to check off the checklist to make sure you're staying compliant with the procedures, within the organization, you also have to make sure that you're a fit and you're trying to be a fit within the organization to ensure true, collaboration in that. What do you think about that, brother?
And man, you just said something. I noticed how compliance and different tools to ensure compliance has become a band-aid, um, just to put a patch over many of the problems. Sometimes we'll look at a document or a list and teach our technicians or employees how to follow a task list and how to be compliant, but we're not looking at the problem that may derive. I'll give you an example. We're having tray defects. We're having hair making inside of an instrument set into the OR. Yes, and QA tech can do an audit, right? A compliance is an audit. Audit is a compliance tool, right? It's a tool to help ensure that we're observing and that we're inspecting these instrument sets before they make it to the OR. Quite often, most facilities would go towards having that person to do that auditing and to ensure that the quality is resolved. They will lean on that auditing person before leaning on an educator who can help resolve and fix the issue related to dirty trays as a whole. So we have to be careful with just over or misusing the tools like checklists, policies without the proper teaching and training for our leaderships to ensure that we change the culture of which is let's understand the importance of having a clean set
That's right.
and not making it to the OR as a whole, and understand the importance of patient safety and not the importance of stopping a tray defect from making it to the OR, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that goes to that proactive nature
Yeah.
versus reactive, and I think that's we're
Yep.
probably going
Yep.
to aim at this entire show, being
Yeah.
proactive and not reactive,
Yep.
which is kind of a hard thing for a lot of people to operate, especially if for the last 15, 20, 30 years, you see these staples within your organization that have become monikers of loyalty. Because, in healthcare, there's a lot of emphasis on loyalty, staying in one place, that we've seen all throughout an organization, and not the what have you done for me lately. And one of the biggest reasons why I love the sports analogies when I'm thinking about an organization is because a lot of organizations seem to operate, regardless of healthcare or not, seem to operate where you have people in your organization that become stakeholders in the department by tenure alone. So they're still living in residual effect for when they helped the hospital 10 years ago. And you can't live in old championships. What they say, old bees don't make new honey. Used to bees don't make new honey.
Right.
And so when you say, well, we did this when I was here, I did triple shifts. But that gave you credence in space for a period of time. But
Mm-hmm.
over time, that behavior can no longer just be allowed because you've been here for a while and everyone feels comfortable with you being here. You know all the ins and outs of everything. But if you're affecting the culture in the organization, you too must depart from thee. You got to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that
Yeah.
a lot of leaders could stand used to be a lot more stronger in the process of challenging even those that have been in the organization for a while to say the fact that you've been here a while and the changes
Mm-hmm.
that you've seen or have not seen should make you actually want to make sure that this culture stays strong, if anything. And
Yeah.
that's kind of that process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
so here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
This takes us to something that's most important to me to talk about is that training on paper and not in practice. Because then it takes me to, the people that have the experience, that's been in the industry a while, they may not be certified.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, I'm gonna go get someone who is certified. I'm gonna find someone that's certified.
Yeah.
I'm going to build a team full of certified people that have the CHL, the CFER, the CRCST, the CIS, the
They
TTG,
loaded.
SGIGS. They got the TP91 T1000. They got the whole thing. They got every certification and even every degree imaginable, right? However,
Mm-hmm.
training on paper is not the same as training in practice. And so, and a lot of techs are being signed off in this scenario, Derrick. A lot of techs are being signed off as trained without truly mastering the work. Some senior staff enable this to fill staffing needs quickly, but the risks multiply. So, what accountability structure ensures that training is both thorough and enforced across all shifts? You know, I got my solution. Let me hear yours.
Oh, well, it's the orientation process. Unfortunately, we have to treat that quote unquote certified, that technician with all the credentials and wearing those long name badges with every single acronym on it. They still have to go through the orientation process. Not only is it a way for our leaders to vet and to really look at the quality of talent that we're getting once we hire them, but it also gets that technician acclimated to that particular hospital systems and how things are done. Yes, policies. You have to know where to find the policies. We may not have the policies in a book or a binder in the manager's office. Those policies may be on a computer. IFUs, how to access them. Um, Understanding the orientation of the department, where the storage units are, or how things, the workflow, logistics, that technician, experienced or not, can still cause problems within a department if they are not properly oriented. Then once they are oriented across the department and the hospital, then you need to observe and ensure that they can do and perform the task that they have or that they were trained to do. Again, as we began to work in many different places, and your most experienced sterile processing technician, unfortunately, we all think we know the best way to do the job, right? We all think we know shortcuts. Um, After time or through time, eventually, if you're not educated, if you're not actively involved in getting your CEUs consistently annually and studying and learning about the changes with AMI guidelines and different skill sets, if you're not learning about those things, eventually you're going to deviate from the right way of doing it, right? You may go into a facility that has 3 sink basins in decontam, or you may be used to a facility that has 3 sink basins, but you go into a facility that has 2 sinks. What's the process? Do you understand how to properly clean those instrument sets and trays? So through orientation, through the interview process, and through onboarding of a new technician, as a leader, it is our job to discover how knowledgeable and how experienced this person is by observing their work performance and habits before we even deem them competent to work in our facility.
Man, and I want you to be honest with uh your count. You don't have to give exact number or percentage. Well,
Yep.
let's
Yep.
percentage.
Yep.
What is your percentage of people who are certified, even including tenure, that um are underperformers when they come to accounts outside of their, you know, their wheelhouse of comfortability?
This is a rough one, but I'm gonna be. I think I would go at least a 45 to 50% of technicians that come in that are certified. Um, I would just say many of them need to be re-educated on the proper way to perform as an SPD tech, sterile processing technician. 45 to 50% of them. And it doesn't mean that they're not skilled to do the job. But it means that they may not do it the correct way. They adopted bad behaviors through time in their learning and their experience. And I'll give you an example. The profession is still, as far as exposure level, to me, I don't know, and you probably got better numbers and statistics, but it's fairly new when you think about it, because for a long time, we're just now seeing 30 and 40-year employees retire now
Yeah.
in this profession, and it's
Yep.
still, and is now being introduced to as a new career, a viable career opportunity, right? The pay is increasing. So you got to understand, me personally, I was trained, the person that trained me and taught me this trade just retired last year, and she did 40 years. I still have employees that's working that did 44 years. Now, they were skilled, they were awesome. They got the job done. But as the industry evolved, as the new equipment, the technology, going from handwritten count sheets to using tracking systems, all of that has changed. New equipment come into the departments. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person evolved, right? We may have an in service from a vendor, but once that vendor goes away, sooner or later, if the leadership hasn't evolved with the equipment and technology, those old habits and skills that have been developed through the years will remain in new and with new equipment and new technology, those shortcuts. So that's why it's important for leaders and new leaders to stay ahead of the curve and be proactive and ensure that education and training is just as important as the new equipment that you're requesting for your departments, or you're going to get an influx of employees and new hires and people working their way through various systems, bringing old bad habits and not changing the or not performing the proper ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what I've learned? We've been in, hospital departments that barely have anything super new, that operate at a high clip. I've also been in departments that have every machinery you could dream of. It's an SPD wonderland.
They got windows too, sunlight.
Got windows, some got windows. It's the
Got
most
windows.
wonderful time of the year. Like, listen, it's like great. And it's funny to see how many of the hospitals that truly lack resources, that have people working at that hospital because they love what they do, they want to show up and do it. They know the pay isn't there, but they know that if they don't work there, mostly safety net hospitals, you will truly see sometimes a clear difference between just the dedication of people, wanting to add value to the organization and be masters of their craft. And so I wanted to bring up what makes me think about, this segment right here, training on paper but not in practice. It makes me think a lot about leadership too. A lot of people think that leadership can be observed or obtained through memorizing what the book says and then passing a test, and voila, I'm certified, I'm a leader. And that's not how you process it. Even when it comes to, our formal process of asserting leaders, certifying leaders through our personal assessment, through our next up leadership, and getting them their HFL, their foundational leadership certification, their strategic leadership certification, their executive leadership certification, and then earning their SCO, their SIP certified healthcare operational um, engineer certification. So you really mastered all three levels. The overall goal are three assessments. I want to know, can you comprehend and pass the test? Yes. Do you have the comprehension knowledge to understand the terminology and be able to pass? The second thing, simulation. How can I see how you operate better, best, making best decisions through simulation? The third thing is through observation. How now all these things from the testing, let me see it live in action. And if you cannot compute that into action, that lets me know you're good at the book work, but you're not good at doing the work. And it reminds me of one of my favorite scriptures. It says, study to show thyself approved unto God. Like, so let's remove God in this example and let's use your career, your industry, or your business. Study to show thyself approved. And what I'm noticing, and this is not just healthcare, it's across the board, every other industry, especially with those that are just trying to make promotional hops. I'm moving here. I'm gonna do 2-3 years here. In their plan, I'm gonna do 2 or 3 years to get this under my belt. Then I'm gonna jump to another. Maybe it may be a lateral position, but a larger hospital, 2 or 3 years. And I'm gonna go lateral here, and then I'm gonna make my way, jigsaw, my way to whatever position that we have. And then when you're in the hot seat, you don't know what to do because you haven't sat in multiple seasons in any one instance. So when we say study to show thyself approved, it's not about being a conference junkie. It's not about, being a education junkie. It's not about being a course junkie. It's about, when I get this information, how much time do I give myself to actually add it into my tool belt? into my repertoire. And a lot of people are honestly, over learning because you haven't applied anything else that you've learned previously. So you can go to war with someone mentally with all these theories and concepts, and it can get you the job. You know all the buzzwords. If I hear the two phrases AI and KPI anymore, oh, Lean Sigma 6, AI, and KPI. If I hear those three words come out of people's mouth anymore, I'm going to scream. Because when you learn these buzzwords and they elevate your tongue. They elevate your tongue to operate at a level. And if you're going to a facility that doesn't know how to assess if you actually know what these things mean and make you have to give proof of you implementing them. If you're not going to a system, you're going to a system that desperately needs just a position open. This is when you find people that get placed and hired in positions that they're not ready for.
Mm-hmm.
They can do great at passing that test.
Mm-hmm.
They can answer the questions perfectly. It'll even make you say, man, I think I found the next Michael Jordan. I think I found them. I think they're the greatest thing on planet Earth. Only for when things actually start thinking and time needs to be had, and you have to actually use those things that you so desperately utilize when you're having natural conversation. This is when we begin to start seeing ourselves in these said positions where that paper doesn't meet true ability. And what I want to tell anyone that's listening to my voice that truly wants to become a leader, I'm talking about from sterile processing to the C-suite. This is what we're communicating when we talk to leaders. Why not you? Why can't you sit
Mm-hmm.
at the table? You service so many departments. So we talk about sterile processing and C-suite. I'm looking at these two things, DJ, and I'm saying the closer you can get your head knowledge to your do knowledge and matching them in the concepts that you speak of, the better position you will be in leadership. And I will much rather stay in a said position to master the needed skill sets. So when I move and I'm talking about all these things, I know what to do. And one of the biggest drivers I give, right? I asked a lot of leaders, DJ, I said, okay, were you a part of someone else's group when you executed that? Or did you lead that from beginning to end? Because when a lot of people would say, "Oh, we turned around this," did we? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
was your part in the we? Yeah. Like, what was that part? Okay, and now let me give you a scenario. Let me see what you would do using this strategy. See, there are ways that you can actually determine if someone can take that paper and put it into action. And I think we need to spend more time wanting to master the things that we learn versus just learning it to regurgitate it to sound and elevate our language by our professional undertone just by language alone. And I know you've dealt with that, DJ, with people
Well,
in those
yeah,
interviews.
yeah, yeah. Well, I want to say, man, you just hit me with something, and you can help me with this because I know you work with a lot of C-suites and you see many of the change in hands with people. But I used to believe when I got into leadership, I always understood that you needed to remain in that position 3 to 5 years before you move ahead. So help me understand because I don't see that now. I see so many people um, getting maybe a year and a half to a year's worth of experience and then looking to transition a lot sooner and just chasing the dollar, and you get a lot of these people hop skipping and jumping from various institutions all over the country, and you know them because we all know them. They're all in the system. It's a small world in healthcare, especially in this profession, but it seems that no one is willing to stay to gain the experience, the amount of time it takes. And study shows because I watched all of the leaders that I looked up to during my journey. And I always noticed that they remain, if you look at their resume, you'll see it as well. You'll see 3 to 5 years in a position and then they grow. What's your thoughts on that? Is that doable in this profession? Or what do you think?
Um, all right. So I don't think it's just this profession. I think it's in general.
Okay. Okay.
And what I would say is, you're right, but it's not as simple as 3 to 5, because
Okay.
that's taking the general consensus, right?
Okay.
The,
Mm-hmm.
the sweet spot, where it should be, depending on what they're coming to the table with, will determine, how long they sit in a position. Okay. The higher you go up in leadership, the longer you need to sit in the said position. So we had, like, let's say, first time supervisor or manager. You want to stay in that position about 2 to 5, 2.5, 3 years, 4 if you can. If you really can stretch it 4. And this is for somebody that you're really trying to master these said skill sets that are needed. When you go to that mid-level director, now you're talking, another 3 to 7, depending on. Here's why. Because I've seen this. I've seen people underperform at one organization, but they have that title. And they were there 3 years and they never accomplished anything. But then when they leave that place, they because they underperform, they'll go into a pseudo subcategory in the same industry, just to buy time to let about a year or two pass before they go back up to try to apply for another positional change at a larger organization, because that time allows for, people to kind of forget some of the things that they're frustrated with you about, and then they reposition themselves only to underperform again. So you will see this cyclical cycle that where people are like, man, they won't find the budget, they won't do these things, which is fine. But what I would say is, why wouldn't they find a budget? If you're not performing, you're doing your job, you're executing, why wouldn't they find the budget or figure it out? So you start to see these things. So they kind of play the job hop game, and they got like the things down. If they underperform, they'll go to a staffing company, work for the staffing company for 3 to 5 years, and then pop back out and say, hey, I'm looking for, a permanent role because I've such and such learned these things. And with staffing companies, you already know this. You could suck, for 13 weeks on an account, leave and go to another staffing company, and they picking you up. As long as you have certification and as long as you have these other things, they're gonna pick you up. You're going to get picked up. So you're
Yeah,
able
you
to.
getting
And so for those that are truly looking to master a role, how long you should be staying in something. And I typically like to say you want to be there around a couple of seasons. When it's turnaround,
mm-hmm.
it's a terrible, everything's bad. It's low on staff, you're low on everything. I want to be in during that season. Why? Because you learn how to handle a department when people are frantic. You learn how to sit in a department when things aren't going your way. You learn how to problem solve in areas that are that. 2, you want to learn how to be in an environment where you're fully staffed, but not everybody's up to speed. Why? Because that allows for you to actually use and learn skills to kind of help cross train and aid and have some support in that space. The third time, you want to be in an organization where you can see yourself progressively move up. Now, you have certain organizations where they have stop gaps on that person's never leaving that position, and that's the only position available. Okay, that makes sense that when you hit that ceiling, if they're not going to move up or move over, to find another thing. But before you move over, have you mastered all of the things that you need to master within that said position or within that said thing? And typically, I like to tie it to this, DJ. When I'm a technician, I'm a first time, team lead or something. It's completely task focused. Can you do decon? Good enough, to teach it. Good enough that you don't make mistakes regularly. Great. Can you do, can you do assembly efficiently? Okay. Because I want to be efficient. Okay. At majority of all the job duties. But when I know I'm good at what I do, 60 to 70% of what I do is at the proficient and mastery level. That's when it's time for me to move on. Can I do it rain, sleet, or snow? Send Dr. Jake. He ready to go. Can I do that? Can I do it if I got to work overtime? I get 3 hours of sleep. Can I show up? Can I perform? Can I do it? That lets me know that I'm ready to move on to the next job description. And what we do, we look at the job description and we go line by line. and we assess, am I not good at it? Do I need work? Am I efficient, proficient, or a master? If I need work, I truly assess, man, if they left me by myself, I don't know if I can pump all these out. That means I need work. If you're in between efficient and need work and not good, you don't need to move. But this takes for you to have to actually look at your true capability. And it's hard for people to actually look at and see if they're good or not, because we have this pseudo effect of fake it till you make it. And the problem is people start believing, they're fake, and you don't get better because you feel like you already made it, versus saying, I'm not good at this. How can I get better? So I think, to answer your question, it depends on, what their development level was prior to coming into the position. And two, at what level were you playing? Being a manager at a facility that has 8 FTEs is not comparable to being a manager of a facility that has 200 FTEs. They're not the same. You are a team lead on this big company, but having that title, it makes you think that all positions are linear, and they're not. So you have to be able to truly assess what your true capabilities are and ask yourself, am I not good at it? Do I need work? Am I efficient? Efficient is, can I do the job with minimal help, minimum oversight, and minimum mistakes? Or does someone always have to come and ask me to touch this up, to fix this up, If you're not being asked to help or support someone else, you're probably not as efficient at that thing that you think you are. Because when you are efficient, hey, they're going to ask for help. The way you know that you're proficient, rain, sleet, or snow, you ready to go. And two, you can teach and train anyone and duplicate yourself. That's when you know that you're proficient. When I know that I can duplicate myself and I teach it so well, I see them duplicate what I teach. That's when you know you're proficient. When you are a master, you can see a problem, create the solution, build plans around it, and then put people into place to actually execute. If you can't do that, you're not a master. So if I'm processing, looking at my true capability, if no one's coming to ask me to help, tell me, can I help teach, coming to help me, can I be a good support, then you're probably not the go-to in that department. If you're not the go-to on that shift in that department, you probably aren't as good as you think that you are, which means you need to do more work. If you're at a manager or a director role and you're not being asked to come to the table to help make decisions for your department, and you have a strong influence that if you need something, they make it happen, you probably aren't as proficient of a master that you think you are. You're good enough to keep the job, but bad enough that they don't want to include you in decision-making. So if you don't see an increase in your budget that you have access to sign every year, that you don't have to ask anybody for it, if you don't have to see an increase, you're probably not as good as you think you are, and you need to work on whatever elements that are making them feel like you're not fit to actually control that said budget. That's the thing that we have to understand. And Arlene says something that was amazing. Ignacio, put it back up. She said, not everyone can perform in a title. Not everyone can perform. Just because they had the title in their previous 3 roles doesn't mean that they can perform at the highest level. So these are things that you can't just say 3 to 5. Some people need to sit in a position for 7 years. It just depends on what their intent is when taking that said position. And if they truly are meaning to master everything that's on that JD and all the responsibilities before moving on. And I would tell anybody this every day, DJ, making $100,000, $150,000 every other 3 years, up and down, it's not a stable or sustainable career path. Being able to get into a position where if you say I'm leaving, they say, let's negotiate because we can't afford to lose you. That's when you know you're in a prime position of true value. If your organization is willing to replace you at any time, you're not as valuable as you think you are. You need to reassess how you can add more value to the organization. So it really depends on where you are, what the intention of the person is, and them truly asking myself, am I just trying to game the system for my overall gain, which you will always be exposed, or am I truly trying to be so great at what I do that I'm forced to rise even when I don't want to? Long answer, but there it goes.
Perfect answer. Yes, sir.
All right. So we're good on that. I do want to highlight something that Angela said. Ignacio, can you go up to the first comment? What Angela Russell said. I love the comment that she mentioned there when she said, "When I think of a culture in a department, my mind always goes to: does the staff feel safe, encouraged to challenge the process that we have, or do they feel threatened and scared to speak up and stand for what is right?" And I do want to address this because Angela, sister, you are right. The staff should feel comfortable to challenge processes. Here's my pushback. Only if they're qualified to do it. I'll give you this example. I'll give you this example.
I agree.
When I played basketball way back when, I was pretty good. DJ. And my teammates, some of them were even better than me. Oh, I'm talking about gifted, past imagination. But I was the only one that can call whatever plays I wanted. If coach called a play, if I saw something, I'm the only one that can call a different play. I'm the only one that can call my own play. Only one. I'm the only one that could create a play. So my teammates thought that it was favoritism. So they'll talk all this stuff. And, I was a little bit of a tough guy back then, so I was willing to be challenged. Now I'm going to pray and call the police. But DJ, so we're challenging, we're going back and forth. Because I would never, I never really knew why. I never knew why coach gave me so much range until one day he was fed up. He came into the locker room before we got started. He said, "Jacob, stand up." So I stood up. I thought I was in trouble. He said, "I'm hearing the bickering. I'm hearing the quiet conversations. Let me tell you why he has the ability to change things and call audibles." He said, "You want to know why? Because I know he studies the games as much as I do. You want to know why? Because he's in the film room longer than y'all are. He's coming to me saying, 'Hey, coach, I saw a couple of things on the court.' Like he has gained the trust of me to chastise what he's seeing that I can't see." And what happens is a lot of people want changes to the processes, especially when it comes to holding them accountable. Most people push back against processes when they're not agreeable to them. And the first thing I did before questioning plays or coaches' play calling, DJ, you know what I did? I ran the plays flawlessly. All the play, I ran it.
Yeah.
If I didn't agree, I ran it. And I was the one that was first in line. I was first to finish. I was on time to every practice. I was last to leave. And these are the things that built his trust to make him say, hey, what do you think about this? See, you have to be invited to the table. You can't kick down the door. And the only way you're invited is if they see your value is so great that they're like, "Hey, can you come talk to me real quick? Something's going on in the department." You can say, "Actually, I have a whole book full." You can say, I have a whole book full of notes. So we can start on shift 1. We can start here on August, right? Too many people are trying to be the chief without proving that you're a great Indian. And it takes me to this. You can never be a great leader if you were an envious, or you were a bitter, or you were an inconsistent number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. So before we create adjustments, maybe the question is, "Hey, I see this process. Can you explain to me why these things are?" Because I want to make sure that if something comes up, I can address that with the team in case you're not around. It's going to make the manager say, "You know what? I actually don't know why that process is there. I inherited it." Then that gives you the ability to say, "Hey, I actually saw a couple of things that if we did it, made it better. You didn't chastise the leader. You didn't make them think that you were better than them. You didn't do any of those things. What you did was you waited for the right opportunity to be able to create open dialogue so that they give you an invitation to hear your opinion. And that opinion is only earned through trust in executing what you're supposed to execute without any barriers. Okay? Somebody got a
Yes, sir.
Oh, we got a question from the producer in the back. Let's go.
Let's go.
Go ahead and read it, DJ. What's the question?
What are y'all's top three components of a great leader? What are our top three components of a great leader? I'll let you go.
Oh my gosh. Well,
go ahead. I'll let you go.
I know you go. You go. I just talked for 3,000 minutes.
Man, you good. I'm listening. I'm taking notes because you're so good at it. Well, I definitely think having charisma and being able to have an effect on people is a necessary tool as a leader in order to get people to follow and to be able to be led, right? I mean, it's hard for me to explain, but it's something about someone that can motivate you, that can inspire you, and that could help you with believing in the steps it takes to get the job done is something that I gravitate to the most because I need to be able to know that that leader believes in whatever the mission is as well in order for me to follow. So having that charismatic approach and is a necessary tool I need. I also need to see that the leader follows processes and steps to achieve goals as well. So they have to show that they have an ability to not only develop and create processes, but follows processes and also be efficient in delivering. That they believe in the process that they're projecting. It's a little bit difficult. Come on, I want to hear you. Come on, take me there. I want you to take me there. That's a little bit hard to
so there's a
push
couple,
out.
There's a couple of things that I think there's more than three. In case some of you guys are wondering what I'm looking at down here. Here's my cheat code. If y'all kind of know what this is, some of y'all may know what it is, what it's not. Those that are listening to the playback, it's a Bible. Okay. Because I think there's so many nuggets in here that we can actually pull from. So I think there's a couple of things that I would like to do. Ignacio, can I do 6? Can I go 6 components of a great leader? Can I do 6? All right. Okay. Ignacio said cook. If you are listening to us in the chat live, type cook in the chat if I can give you 6. Let me see if I can get some engagement in the chat. If you're listening to this live recording, I'm going to give you this 6 and then we're going to call it an episode. Let me see cook in the comments. Type the word cook. Type the word cook in the comments. Okay. So here we go. So when I think about the 6 elements needed, can you put that title back up? The 6 elements needed for a great leader. Okay. I'm going to go with the first 3. And then my next 3, I'm going to pull it straight from scripture. Okay. The first element is, can you provide clarity through chaos? Somebody write this in the comments for me so that when it stays, people can see it. The first element of a great leader is, can you provide clarity through chaos? I think it's very important with understanding that in leadership, nothing is ever as it is. Nothing ever goes the way that it should. Nothing ever goes according to plan. So when I'm thinking about a leader, I'm asking myself, can this person provide me peace in a moment where everything feels like it's burning up. Even when you don't know if we're going to get out of this season good. Can you provide me clarity? Can you help me see the bigger picture? When I'm underperforming myself, can you help me see that there's bigger things in play? Can you give me that confidence? Can you bring me focus? Can you bring me direction? Can you help me identify what the priorities are, even when I'm at disarray, dismay, and I'm maybe even not confident in my position or my pay? Can you bring peace? Are you a sense of strength? That's number one. If someone can't provide that sense of strength and peace, and it's chaos, that's somebody who may not be ready to be the leader within the organization. That's one. Was that pretty good, y'all? Was that pretty good? Am I cooking? Am I cooking? Number two. You ready for number two? Number two is emotional intelligence. Now, I know when people talk about emotional intelligence, I think this is another thing I get tired of hearing people talk about because the context is off. Emotional intelligence is not about learning how to bring your voice down and bring peace into someone's life, because what people are failing to understand is that emotional intelligence is being able to navigate your personal emotions and biases while managing someone else's that may be angry, upset, frustrated. And whether they are right or not, emotional intelligence allows for you to manage all emotions, hear all sides out, and even if you get frustrated, find a way to turning around and provide clarity in a moment of chaos. You'll see how two goes back to one. Clarity in a moment of chaos. Emotional intelligence is knowing when it's the right time to tell someone the truth and when is it the right time to actually set someone straight to hold them accountable. That's emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is me understanding that you cursing me out, you being angry at me may have nothing to do with me, but with your person's inability to manage their inner emotions of underperforming or undershooting or whatever. Emotional intelligence says, hey, maybe I shouldn't answer this phone. I should let them vent. And then the next day when I meet them, I say, hey, are you good? Okay, great. We're on the same page. Okay, let me give you a hug. Let's start this day off fresh. Let's keep going. That's emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not having all of the best words to say, talking in the most peaceful tone, listening to all these things that align all this other stuff, when in fact, your job as a leader using emotional intelligence is to get the most out of your team. Some people have to be pushed to a brink. Some people have to be simmered down. You have to know the resources that you're leading and be able to talk and deal with people at what they need to get them to perform, not at what they need to get them to feel comfortable. Emotional intelligence knows that there's a season when people need to have fire under their butt, and there's a season when you need to cool off and let them kind of hide between the weeds and somebody else covers for them. Emotional intelligence knows that when something is off with your team member, partner with somebody that can help them get through the day. That's emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence should bring chaos, should bring clarity in moments of chaos. Okay? That's emotional intelligence. The third thing, that was number two. Third thing, you as a leader should be biased toward action, not explanations or emotions. The third thing is to be biased to action, execution over excuses. I want you to understand something. When you go into true leadership, managing emotions is a thing. That's where emotional intelligence is needed. But despite how you feel, the job still has to get done. And as a leader, you have to separate your funness over someone with checking to make sure that they're getting the job done. But oftentimes what happens is we put our funness, us being fun over someone, over the fundamental responsibility of you as a leader, holding someone accountable. If you said yes to the job, whether you have the resources or not, are you getting the job done? Yes or no? Are you getting the job done? Listen, I am fond of you. I love you. I care for you in all the things. But also, too, why isn't this not done? You know, this is a write-up. So one of my favorite books, it says, spare the rod, spoil the child. Which means the rod is an example of accountability. If I spare you from getting onto you and holding you accountable, I spoil you. And anytime you have anyone in your organization that is spoiled, they become entitled because of proximity. If they become entitled because of proximity, it's going to be harder for you to push them to their excellence. So I'm biased over excuses. I'm biased. I want execution because you want more pay, right? You want more respect, right? You have to learn that when you come to work, you're between those lines. That's your game. That's your sport. If you can't learn how to mitigate your personal emotions to make sure that you can deliver on what you call, boom, you're not a leader. You're not ready. Okay? Am I cooking, y'all? I got 3 more. I have 3 more. Y'all stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Now I'm identifying the 3 attributes that I'm looking for when I'm looking for someone that's good at leadership. The first one, y'all may not know this. There's a story of a man named Jethro that was teaching another man named Moses. Anybody will understand, I always teach leadership from this premise. It's a book called Exodus, and it's a chapter 18. It's one of my favorite books. Okay, it's a man named Jethro teaching a man named Moses, and Moses was Jethro's mentee. What Moses was doing, he was running the organization where he was essentially becoming the superstar. He wanted everyone to know it was him. Everyone to know that he was judge, he was the police, he was the ruler, he was the end all be all, everything was him. And what happened was Jethro came to Moses and said, hey, I'm just your mentor, but what you're doing is not good. I'm just your mentor, but what you are doing is not good. He said, because everyone waits on you day and night. And a lot of y'all are running your organizations where you want everything to come from you. You want to be the one that came up with the idea. You want to be the one that makes all the rules. You want to be the one that creates all the processes. You want to be the superstar, and no one else alone can be a star with you. They need to read Exodus 18. I ain't telling them the verse. They go read the whole chapter. And so what it does is it makes this cocoon where you almost become godlike in your organization, and the pressure begins to be a lot stronger. So what I'm looking for a leader that, 1, is capable, but 2, knows how to find capable people. So I'm looking for a leader. I'm looking for someone who knows how to find capable people. I'm teaching y'all. That's right, Donnie. Because those who are capable are the only ones that should lead. I'm about to break down the word capable for y'all. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to go to class? We're going to finish this podcast in class because we missed the last 2 weeks. So y'all stay with me. Welcome to a taste of SIP's next up leadership that y'all should have inside of y'all organizations. Welcome to a taste of our next up leadership that we teach inside of hospital organizations. I'm going to share my screen. Y'all still with me? Are y'all still with me now? Stay with me now. Some of y'all are at work. Y'all weren't paying attention to work. No way. You can get better today. This could be a part of your CEUs. We're going to see how we can get. Let me give you a taste of next up leadership, okay? So the first thing I look for, Jethro told Moses, find capable men. And I thought it was very funny that he didn't say willing, because he could have easily said people that are willing. Find people that are willing for leadership. And so when I'm talking to a leader, I'm trying to find out if they in fact know the difference between someone capable and someone who's just willing. And I want to hear how they made decisions to pick someone more capable than their best friend. Biases in building an organization is someone that I do, as a leader, that I do not want leading my organization. If you lead by biases, feelings of funness, then you will never be able to hold yourself or other people accountable. So let me show you something. I found it very strange. Found it very strange that he said the word capable and not willing. Y'all ready? So capable. Show you what capable. Hold on. Capable. Having the ability, fitness, you're fit to, or quality necessary to do or achieve a specific thing. You're able to achieve efficiently whatever one has to do, and competent. Oh my goodness. Let's look up competent. Welcome to Next Up Leadership. Someone who's competent, you already have the necessary ability, knowledge, or skill to do something successfully. Let's look up successfully. Let's look it up. In a way that accomplishes a desired aim or result. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. What does this mean? Capable. It means you must already have the innate ability to operate efficiently and get a job done before you get hired for the job. That's capable. So Jethro was telling Moses, the first order of business is to find someone capable. They already have the ability. They have emotional intelligence. They've been through the fire a couple of times. They can give you examples of situations that they've been in that they drove action. Find someone capable and has a proven record of being able to hit a result or an aim or a target without needing your help, your hand-holding, or any extra resources. They can get the job done. That's what he said, capable. And let me go back to why he didn't say willing. And a lot of us choose people in our organization just because they're willing to step up. Here we go. Willing means they're ready, eager, or prepared to do something. Something. So versus saying, choose someone willing, Jethro said to Moses to choose someone capable. And we're wondering why our organizations are underperforming because we're only hiring people who are willing. So when I'm looking at a leader, I'm assessing, are they capable or are they just willing to step up to the challenge? And if you hire someone that's a leader that's willing, you have to also include and give them time to develop whatever skill sets that are needed. You ready? So 1, y'all see 2, what's 3? Let's see 3. What's four? Stop. Capable and knows how to find capable people. If you can't find capable people and you can't identify capable people, you're not the leader for me. You got to be able to identify capable people, which means you must become capable yourself. Because how can you do a litmus check on someone if you don't know how to complete it yourself? If you have to depend on someone else to be able to determine if someone's capable or not, maybe you're not as capable as you think you are. Now, here's the next one. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? I know the chat is a little delayed. Put in the chat. The second thing I look for a leader who has a healthy fear for God, a higher power, or a man or woman of truth. Because guess what? A person who has no morals is a person you can never trust to run an organization. If they have cut corners before, they're going to cut corners again. So I don't care who the God is that you serve. I want to know, is this a God that you will hold yourself accountable to even when I'm not around? If you are doing a job that you said that you would do, I have to be able to trust that if I walk away, are you going to do what you said you're going to do as far as when it comes to the job? That's number 5. Who are you accountable to if it's not me? And you know how I can tell this? I can tell this, that portion of integrity, I can tell this by how you interact with your family interact with you. I can tell this based on what people are saying about you behind your back. Person of integrity. I can tell this based on how you left your last job. How did you leave your last job? How did you leave your last organization? Because someone who has a healthy fear of God, despite if you're feeling like you're unheard, they're not paying you what you're supposed to, you know how to leave a place with integrity. And it's not last minute. It's not secretly going and getting a job and then telling your job, hey, I'm not coming back. It is leaving with honor and dignity. And I need to know that you did that every single time you left an organization. If you did not, if you left an organization because somebody was going to pay you more, if you left an organization leaving them high and dry, if you didn't participate and negotiate a transition plan to make sure that the place that you're leaving, despite how they treated you, is still getting what they need as you're transitioning out. If you did not structure that, then you're probably not the type of leader that I want, because guess what? At some point, you're going to want to leave us. And I would have a fear that if I gave you this much responsibility, you would leave me hanging high and dry without a transition plan in order to save yourself, but kill the place that gave you the opportunity. And then the last part. Here's the last one, y'all. I'm teaching today. I know it. You ain't got to tell me. You don't have to tell me. The last one that's going to determine the quality of a leader is number 6. Someone who isn't easily moved by bribes. It's number 6. I will never put a leader. I will never put a leader in leadership and give them access to anything if the first thing they talk to me about, or even the second thing they talk to me about, is what are they going to get paid? What's my salary? How can you ask for salary without proving thyself? That means you're easily bribed. Somebody offers you a higher check, you're easily gone because it's all about the money. So anyone that talks a lot about money and their personal gain and their personal money and personal thing that they make, you ain't the leader for me. Because why? There will be times in your career, in order to save the organization, give people opportunities, you may have to take a pay cut. There may be times in your career where you have to sit because you went over budget 2 years in a row, but yet you're asking for a pay raise every year. There will be times where the company gave you grace. You underperformed since you've been there. But the only thing you care about, if I got paid more, I would do better. My response is, if you did better, you'll get paid more. Someone who isn't easily taken by bribes. Because the greatest leaders will always get paid the most dollars. I've seen it. I've seen leaders say no to jumping at different organizations just to make sure they finish what they started where they were. And guess what happens? Their jump to their next level ends up catapulting, tripling what they ever thought that they could ever make, because they left the right way. They had integrity. They were capable. They knew what they needed to do. That emotional intelligence. That all of these other things that made them who they are. So I'm going to leave you by saying this. Culture is defined. Culture is defined by the level of accountability you have for yourself, as well as those that are around you. People should feel uncomfortable with underperforming around you. If they are comfortable underperforming, cutting corners, if you make them feel comfortable, that is not a good culture. Just because y'all eat cakes and cupcakes and all these things doesn't mean that you have the respect of those that are around you. In that space, that's the space that you must learn how to master if you want to be great. DJ, close us out. It's on you.
Oh, I don't have much to say. This is DJ, and I approved this message. So I don't know if people saw me chewing as the screen came back up, because it's all I couldn't eat my popcorn, but I had my trail mix. But there's so much value in just having someone, especially this organization, similar to our Next Up Leadership, to be able to provide this level of training that helps you grow as a leader within an organization and individually as a person. So this is what is needed. If you are a leader out there, please, if you want more information on the Next Up Leadership, just reach out to SIPS Healthcare Solutions, and let's get better, let's grow, and let's do something impactful. That's all I got.
See y'all.
All
If
right.
you like episodes like this, let us know in the comments, and we'll make sure that we are tailoring the content to be exactly what you need. And some of you all just need a little bit of that preaching power underneath to put a little. You have the things that you need in place. You just have to make sure that you're mastering those things with the right heart. And the greatest among you will be a servant of all. That's a moniker that's always stated. And it means that those that elevate to become the greatest of you are always those that are willing to serve you better than anyone else. Leadership is not a passive role. You cannot sit it and pass the baton and hope it gets done. Leadership is an active role of always challenging people to get better. We'll see you and talk to you next week.